welcome to Kathy's Country Life. I'm Kathy, and today we are going to be canning baked beans. These are delicious out of the can. They're perfectly seasoned with everything that you need or would ever put into your baked beans. And it's such a convenience item to have in your pantry. If you need a quick side, you just go to your pantry, pop a lid, put it in your saucepan, heat it up, and voila. Beautiful, delicious baked beans. I'm going to do a smaller batch today because summer's almost over here, and even though it's thought of as a summer side dish for summer barbecues and such like that, me and my husband enjoy baked beans through the winter too. So I wanted to get stocked up for winter time with these beans. To start out, I do a quick soak method. In any dried bean recipe, you can put them in a pot, wash them real good, put them in a pot, cover with water, and just let them sit overnight. I didn't have the brain power to think of doing that last night, so what I did was the quick soak method. I put my beans in a pot, I washed them good, I picked out any bad pieces, any stones, I strained them, I ran water over them while they're straining for another wash, and then I put them in my Dutch oven, covered them about 2 inches, maybe a little more, water, brought them to a rapid boil, and then turned the heat off, kept the lid on, and let them soak for 30 minutes. After the 30 minutes is over, I put them in a colander, give them another quick rinse, and this is what we have. They're steaming. You can get a little bean facial if you want to. They're steaming. They're going to be cooling down while we get all the other ingredients ready. The second thing that I've done off camera is I chopped up some bacon and fried it. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of bacon. Well, the package that I had was 12 ounces because we all know that bacon don't come in 1 pound packages anymore for whatever reason. So I had 2 12-ounce packages. I don't care for any additional grease in my baked beans, so I just cut up and sliced that 12-ounce package, and it is perfect. You won't even notice that I don't have more bacon than that in it. But I just sliced them up, put them in my frying pan, and don't worry about them sticking together because as they start frying and you're kind of tossing them around in the pan, they all come apart and cook good. A lot of people in their recipes, they put the raw bacon in. I don't like that. I don't like digging out a sloppy piece of grease fat like that, and I cook mine just about all the way done. I like the flavor that it gives, so that's what I did. I cooked those up until they were just about done. They're brown and they're pretty crispy, and I took them out of the pan and put it on a paper towel to drain. So here we are. We've got our quick soak beans ready. We have our bacon ready. The next step is into a stock pot. You're going to reserve about 2 tablespoons of that grease, that bacon grease. You can, I cooked my bacon in a skillet and then just took out 2 tablespoons and put them in my big stock pot. But you can just go ahead and cook it in your stock pot, which I should have done because that would have saved me on some dishes. But that's neither here nor there. So to our stock pot, we are going to add 3 cups of rough chopped onions, and it calls for 12 cloves of garlic minced. And I have some garlic that I can mince up by hand, but I just bought a jar of the minced garlic from the grocery store. So I think that I will do, it calls for 12 cloves, so I think I will do 6 half teaspoons of this, and I think that's going to come close to equaling the 12 cloves. So I'm going to bring you over here to the pot, and we'll get the onions and the garlic going. garlic are soft, they're translucent, and we can begin mixing all of the ingredients together. To this pot, I'm going to add 3 cups of chicken broth, chicken stock. I'm using the Simply Nature chicken bone broth. We're going to add this to the pot. And then we're going to add 1.5 cups of brown sugar. Now then, do you see the flavor profile beginning to build? Okay, and now we're going to add 1 cup of molasses. I prefer the blackstrap molasses, but I don't have that, so I'm just using Brer Rabbit molasses that I got at the store, but I have some blackstrap coming. But this will do fine in a pinch. I can usually eyeball it, but we're going to go ahead and do this. This is some sticky stuff. Perfect. We're going to add this in. You want to get every bit of that delicious sweet molasses in here. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, the next ingredient is going to be 1/2 cup of ketchup. I'm a Heinz girl myself, always have been. Oops. And Hunt's was on sale, and for this, it's just fine. Even the off-brand is fine. So, got 1/2 cup of ketchup. And then, I'm just going to use this same dirty 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. There's my dog barking. He will bark at a leaf blowing. Cash, no. Okay, that's 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. Mix that in. Then we're going to use 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. There's a joke I saw going around Facebook that people from Alabama call it wash your sister sauce. Like wash your sister. I thought that was funny. It was geared towards Alabama fans. Okay. 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, if I'm saying that right. Then we're going to do 1/4 cup. The recipe calls for Dijon mustard. When I make traditional baked beans, you know, where you just get a can of pork and beans and you mix up all your ingredients, I always use just plain old yellow mustard. And so that's what I'm going to use in this recipe. And we're going to do 1/4 cup. Smelling delicious. Okay, and then we need 2 teaspoons of salt. You can use in canning, you cannot use iodized salt in canning. It discolors your food. It's not good for it. You can either use the canning pickling salt in the canning section that you can buy, or really good salt. I am using my Himalayan pink salt for this. And so we're going to do 2 teaspoons of my pink Himalayan salt. Okay. And then you can put, if you want a little bit of heat to them, You know, you can put cayenne pepper. We are not a heat family. It's very mild heat, if anything. And so I've got Korean red pepper. And this has a very good taste. It's not as stout as cayenne pepper. And so I like to add this to the recipes. And so I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of Korean red pepper. And a teaspoon of black pepper, but I just like to load it, which is probably a teaspoon once you get it all in here, but I don't measure this. Okay, our ingredients are all mixed together. Oh, before I forget, I'm adding the bacon in too. I usually add that last for whatever reason, but here's my bacon, and you can see it's pretty done. I'm going to add that into the pot too and stir it up and let it simmer with the rest of the stuff so that good smoky bacon flavor gets in there too. Okay, so here I've got our beans and sauce just simmering. They've been simmering for about 5 minutes. I'm going to let them go about another 5 minutes more. Here I have got my pressure canner getting ready. This is a Presto canner that I've got 2 of them and I love them. I have added some water and a splash of vinegar inside. How I measure my water is not brain science or anything, but I put my pinky down, and when it reaches that second knuckle, I feel like I have enough. And then I put a splash of vinegar inside to keep from any white scaly stuff getting on the outside of the jars. It happens. We're on well water. We have very good well water, but well water can also have higher temperature, higher quantities of lime, and so you get that lime scale on your jars sometimes, but I put vinegar in there just to make sure. Back here I have a little pot of water boiling, just about coming to a boil. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off, and I'm going to put my canning lids in there to be softening up. Okay guys, we are ready to get canning. Here is our bean and sauce mixture. I've got 9 pints. I'm thinking that's about what we'll have. I put these into the dishwasher and ran them on they were already washed, but I put them in the dishwasher on the sanitize cycle and let them get hot and sanitized. I've got my canning gear out here. I've got my rings. I've got my lids soaking in warm water. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And over here, I have got my canner getting ready. Again, I've just got it set on a simmer low just to get the water heated up so that when I put my warm jars with the hot liquid inside here, it won't go into a shock and break. So we're going to let that just heat up for a little bit, and let's get to canning these babies. Okay, I have got my setup pretty much like I like it. I've got hot jars, I've got hot liquid, and I've got my water warming in my canner so that it will be hot. I was going to say about warming your canning lids. It is not mandatory like it used to be in canning that you had to warm it to warm up the seals. You don't have to do that now. But when I'm canning something where it's hot, I like to just put it in some hot water or really warm water and just let them sit there and relax a little bit while we're getting all this done. You don't have to, it's just, I just do. It's the old-timey in me, I guess, because I was taught by an old-timer to can. Okay, so we're going to start filling these jars. Oh, and let me just say this too. I added another cup of chicken broth to this. I like them to be a little bit more juicy than they were. And the reason is these beans are not done by no means doing a quick soak or an overnight soak. These beans are nowhere near done. They're still firm. They are going to be cooking when we can them. They are going to be absorbing liquid as they're canning. So I like to have a little bit of extra liquid in the jar so that they don't come out dry. So I did add another cup of chicken broth while this was simmering. And what I like to do is, I have this, get the good go. I have this big strainer spoon, and I like to get not much of the liquid, mostly beans, onions, and bacon, and put that in before I add the liquid, because I don't want the beans to be all the way to the top mixed in with the liquid, because you may not, the beans may soak up all that liquid and then you have dried beans. So I'm going to put a little bit more and then I'll show y'all. I'm going to do that. That's probably maybe 3/4. We're going to leave an inch headspace, which is this bottom rim right here. So I'm going to do about that much beans and then fill the rest of it up with liquid. So we're gonna debubble and see how short we are. It's important to stir your stuff around in here to get any air bubbles out of your jars. This can cause jars to crack, explode in your canner. And I think that's what most people are worried about when they use a pressure canner. But if you do all the steps right, it's perfectly safe. I'm going to need some more juice. Wow, I'm glad that I added that other cup of broth. I probably could have added some more. And I may just do that. To finish topping these off. I'm just going to heat up some more broth to finish, because some of them are quite shy of a 1-inch headspace. So I'm going to do that. Be right back. Okay, I heated up some more chicken broth, and it's okay. That is not a problem. I just need a smidge of liquid in some of these. And I wanted this to be hot because all this stuff is hot. And it's not enough to make any difference in the taste profile or how it's going to cook. Just go with the flow. Okay, I think all those are at 1-inch headspace. I'm going to give them another stir, make sure I got all the bubbles out. And it's a sticky mess, I'll tell you that. And that is why we're going to do this next step, which is very important also. God, they smell like heaven. Okay. You are, no matter what you're doing, how you're canning, using the funnel the whole time or whatever, you're going to get whatever you're canning on the rims of these jars. And you don't want anything on the rims of these jars to keep it from sealing, having a tight seal. So I always, and especially if it's anything greasy, if it's anything sticky, sweet, that kind of stuff, I get a paper towel and put some vinegar on it and wipe around the rims. See, I already got, you can see where I got some of that stuff on there. So this is a very important step also in your canning journey, is to wipe the rims. So make sure they're clean. Make sure you feel around the rims when you're cleaning them to make sure there's no chips or anything like that that could hinder them sealing. And also, if you've got any kind of chips or hairline cracks in them, they're going to explode on you in the pressure canner. So always check for that. And yeah, Kathy wasn't very neat with these because I think I splashed it everywhere. That's okay though. That's what the paper towel and the vinegar's for. There is some sticky stuff on the outside of the jars, and that is perfectly fine. They're going to go into the canner steamed, and I always, after they've been canned, before I put them away, I give the jars a good wash to make them look all pretty. Okay, I think I've got these all cleaned up. Now we're going to put our lids on. I use this little magnetic lid lifter, but you don't have to. I just always had it for when I boil my lids and the lids are popping hot, but this is just warm water. So I could just lift them, but I'm going to do this. It's best not to touch the rings, the rubber ring with your finger. So this is just a safer way to do it. Okay, and then you put your rings on, finger tight. You don't crank them down, you know, till you're going to strain to get them off. They just need to be, I go all the way till it stops and then give it another little turn. Don't put them on too tight till it stops, a turn. And I may do mine too tight. I hadn't had any issues out of it, but that's just how I do it. Till it stops, another turn. Pint size pressure canning at 10 pounds of pressure, which is my elevation. You pressure can for 75 minutes, quarts for 90 minutes. With dried beans or meat, it's the same amount of time. So that's why it's fine to put bacon in here, because you'd have to pressure can bacon for 90 minutes or 75 minutes for pints anyway. Beans you have to can at the same time, so it's fine to put some meat in your dried beans because they're going to cook at the same amount anyway. So I'm going to put my lid on. Bring it closed and locked. And then I like to have my gauge here facing this way. And so what we're going to do now is, this is a, I don't know if you can see that. Let's do it this way. This has got to have a steady amount of steam coming out for 10 minutes. So I'm going to sit here, let it do its thing, build up steam inside the cooker, and once I get a steady stream of steam, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. And I'll come back when that happens. Okay, see, it is sputtering and some puffs of steam. I don't know if you can see. There you go. The steam, but it's not steady, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Okay, we have got, I know it's hard for you to see, but a steady stream coming out of that. And this is all watery and steam's coming out. Don't worry about that. That is no problem if you have water coming out right there. You're going to have water coming out right there too. There is a steady stream there. You might can see some of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my weight, the jiggler, whatever you want to call it, over that. And what's going to happen is all the steam is going to build up. This is going to pop up just like that, and I'm going to wait for the dial to get up to 10 pounds of pressure. Once it gets to 10 pounds of pressure, I'm going to set my timer for 75 minutes, and I'm going to stay around here with it. And the reason is because I'll need to make sure that stays on 10-pound pressure and adjust my stove temperature. If it's getting too high, I need to turn it down. This isn't the best stove to regulate the heat, but it's okay. I haven't had a stove yet that did regulate the heat good. So anyway, it's a waiting game now. We're going to wait till the pressure builds up and I get 10 pounds of pressure, and we're going to start the timer. Okay friends, we are just a smidge away from 10 pounds of pressure, and I'm going to go ahead and start my timer for 75 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, and I'll see you back when they're done. Okay, so the timer is gone off. 75 minutes has gone past. I turned the eye off and I let the pressure escape naturally. I did not lift the lid or anything, and once the pressure got down to 0, the pressure gauge dropped. I let it sit here for about 10 minutes, and so now it's safe to open the lid. You always want to open the lid facing towards you to let the steam escape and not come up and burn you. That smells good. And here we have our bottles, our jars. They are bubbling. Okay, we are going to let them sit overnight to get completely cool, get the seal going, and then I'll clean up the jars tomorrow. I'll take the bands off and we'll put them in the pantry.